Well, it says I'm live. Good morning. Um, let's see if I can get a good view today so you can see everything. So I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to put together, and please don't look at these. These are not antlers yet. They're just like a placeholder. I've got this reindeer, and I'm continuing with this sculpture. And my next task is to strengthen this sculpture because the legs need to be very much more thinned down. But in clay, even this hard clay, um, in order to do that, I really need to reinforce them. And so, normally, in the old days, we would do a sculpture for that was going to be turned into porcelain or resin, and we would not reinforce the legs. We would just simply finish it lying down and deliver it that way because the mold maker wants to be able to cut those legs off. So, um, anyway, I'm going to show you how how I'm going to embed some armature pieces. Since I didn't start out that way, I'm going to do it because what I'm going to have for you in the end is and I don't know if you can see it from here. Let me see if I can get this real big for a minute. A completed, this isn't exactly right, but one or maybe two at the most reindeer, and with this very traditional sled. And so I've already created the pieces. I'll start this before our Friday live stream, but I've created the armature pieces. This is Richardson armature wire. It is so easy to work with. It's very strong, but very bendable. So you can do it with your hands very easily. And so I created the parts for the sleigh, and then I have um, this kind of sled. I should call it a sled. And then I have, of course, I put one piece of armature in that leg already, and it is so nice and sturdy and on there. But I don't know if you can see, this one is already breaking off. So I'm going to, first I'll do the front and then I'll do the back. And I can't really finish the body. Just I'm not going to do super detail for you guys, but just to show you the shape, how I make the shape and how I reinforce it without fixing these legs. So I won't knock that one off at all now, which is great. For anyone who's new here, I use Clayette by Chavant. It's a modeling clay that doesn't dry out, and this is the hard. So I have to work with it when it's soft over here. I'll show you like the difference. This is one that's been heated. Very, you can still touch it. It feels really good to the touch because it's warmed up. You can see how uh, very malleable that is. And yet the heart, when it cools, it's very hard and holds great detail. So that's what I want with a clay to achieve what the professional results I'm looking for anyway, back in the day when I had to do professional results. So I'm going to take this riffler tool. Whoops, I always have trouble finding my camera. It's got all these little cuts in it. Let's see, there you go. You see, it's very pointed at the top, but it has all these little microscopic almost cuts. And I'm just going to start to create a channel in this other leg. And before we do that, I should just match up and you'll get to see how pliable this is. Let me move this in so you can really see what I'm doing here. Hopefully that light isn't too much. I'm operating on my reindeer now, right? So I'm going to bend that. See how easy that was to bend. So it kind of contours the leg. I'll bring this around. Just so easy to bend that. I don't even need a tool. I'm going to try to bend it back a little. All right, so like that. See how that matches up? And I'm just going to create a channel and kind of carefully, I want to move my hand so you can see what I'm doing. Just create a channel. First, just a line that's kind of an incised, deep line. It's like doing an operation. I'm operating, giving him a titanium part. Oh, oh, see that? See how incredibly breakable that was right there. I didn't hold on to it. I'm trying to let you guys see what I'm doing at the same time, and it's kind of hard to but that's okay because we're going to see how I repair this. All right, so if I hold that up, maybe you can see I've started to gouge out a channel. I'm going to do it a little deeper. I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to unfortunately have to put it down and then hold it back up for you. I've been kind of vowing as soon as my school is over after December, or at least the semester, I want to set up the live streaming with another camera. So you have a close up as I'm working. Because right now I'm just using my computer. Oops. All right, let's get that deeper and I'll show you this. I know you can't see it and I have to hold on to it or I'm going to make more of a mess. So I'm really carving out a nice channel. And what I'm going to do is put hot clay back in over top of it. So it really holds it in there. And I could heat gun this to really make it soften. But one of the problems with heat gunning a small piece is these start to soften the areas that you don't want to have softened, or putting it back into the heat, like into my heating pad area. Don't really want to do that. All right, so I've got this, and I think this piece is too short anyway. Let me just clear this out a little bit better. And but like I was showing you on that front leg, once that's in, um, it's really strong. Now, if you gave this piece to a mold maker, if you weren't doing it yourself, and I'm going to get into mold making in the spring too. I promised everybody that. Right now, I'm putting in the piece. I'm going to put that piece in there, and if I have to, I might have to cut it. No, I think it's pretty good. It's getting in there. It's getting in there. If I have to clip it more at the end, I will. As you can see, it's in there. All right, so I'll get some hot clay, or warm clay, I should say warm, so it's pliable. And here's my next tool, just a pad tool with nice, that's just a very strong pad tool. Don't know where I got it. Um, and I'm just going to place the hot clay right into the channel. See that? Okay, like that. Pushing it in, pushing it in, pushing it in. I want that to be a good meld. And then this poor leg, I might as well make a new one, really. But in fact, and you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do because I'll be better off just adding more clay here and just making a new leg. And that way I can really get it around that armature piece. And when that hardens up, I can recarve that down. But at least that's really in the body. If I want to make a mold and have to take a leg off, I can cut that. I can cut that off with I'll show you, just clippers like this or strong pliers will clip right through this very easily. So while it's very strong and very bendable, you can work with it because it's easy to cut. Um, I really think it's great. The other thing is, in the old days, we had clay that was sulfur based, and we could not um, put armature in unless it was a certain kind, and they didn't have these great products. Let me get this out of the way because I want to take a look at the reindeer again. And now if I want to bring that leg this way, I can. I can bend it. If I break it, I'll just put more hot clay on and fix it. It's as simple as that. And I have to point out, this is a one big advantage over water-based clay because you can see where I'm headed with that. Because water-based clay, it starts to dry on you. You don't have a lot of options once it starts to dry on you. It's harder to work with. And, but if that's your final product, the water-based clay, that's great. But if you're thinking about making bronze and molding the clay, you want to really work with modeling clay that doesn't dry out. In my humble opinion, there's a lot of really good artists out there, really good sculptors who work pretty much. I'm having a little trouble with that right now. but I have to let that just kind of cool down. And then I can carve away that excess there. Okay, just clip that off where it's too long. Do I want that leg back or do I want it like the picture is what I'm asking myself. Let's try to make it more like the picture. We'll get that in place. I might have to clip off some excess. The trick is to wait till it kind of cools down and then you can really refine it. All right, so while that's cooling down, and that's a very long leg, trying to make sure it's not too long, a little emphasis to the hock area there. Can you see that pretty well? I hope so. This is why I need to get a second camera as we go forward. And then I can just edit that down. I like to use the word edit because I'm going to trim it and we'll move on to the other legs now. Okay. So that's the most I'll do on that right now. I see some on the back I really need to trim off or press in real quickly while I get it really melded in the back area. Sometimes you can really make sure your structure is secure. And that's what I'm just doing here. I got excess clay back here, so I'm pushing it in there, just making sure it's part of the structure and not going to crack off. And again, I can refine that when this cools a little more, because then it will hold up. And then that's going to be a very strong back leg. So now, even though that's still kind of messy, I'm going to leave that alone. Let me clean up my crumbs. I always lecture everybody about keeping your crumbs cleaned up. So, especially if it's not your house. Of course, this is my house, but if it's not, and you get crumbs all over on the carpet, that's an interesting issue. All right. So, and plus, you want to recycle your clay is very expensive. That's the really big reason for doing that. So I'm going to put my crumbs back on the heat pad, and I have more hot clay here. All right. So what I'm going to do now is cut channels. I have my uh, wire for the other legs. I see at the very end I have a little turn up I want to do. Let's see if I want to match that. Yeah, let me turn that up a little more. And one of the other things you can do with armature, like the Richardson armature, is you can make like little cuts like this. I don't know if you could see that at all, but there you go. You can see it a little bit. Just little cuts like this here and there randomly, not all the way through. And that will help it hold on to the clay better. I forgot to do that on the first one. The other really good idea, if you have something where you really want it to hold, you can take this very thin armature wire and that it comes in several widths, as you'll find out, and you can wrap a piece of armature with that. So really making sure that that clay will stay on there. So, excuse me, what I'm going to do now is cut the channel on the other side for the armature wire for this leg. In my view, it is probably easier to try to construct your piece and then embed the armature. It depends on what it is. It's like when I did that branch for the bird, and we haven't even finished that. You guys saw me. Uh, I don't know if you saw me make the actual branch, but it was just hot clay over armature wire. So that made it, oops, that made it so strong. And I'm sorry you can't see this because I have to hold it or it will break right off. Oh, there's my alarm. Well, I won't be able to stay anymore today, but that's going to embed right in there, just like we did on the back. And I will refine that to show you the whole thing next time. And then we're going to do the sled, and I have the armature wire all ready for that. So Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you got something new out of it. And turn off my little alarm there. And I will see you Friday morning. And Cindy, please put Dr. Paul, the animal vet. Yeah, it's like being a vet. Any questions, please put in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer them. And I'll see you all on Friday. If I can find my little mouse, I can say goodbye. Bye bye for now.